Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Mr. Schwartz's Art Hour. And on this episode we're going to be learning how to draw Olaf the Snowman from the brand new Disney film Frozen. Meet me on the other side of the scene transition and we'll get ourselves started. What we want to do is come to around this part of the paper, one of a little space up here, and we're going to start by drawing a shape that is flat, relatively flat on the top, and is going at a slight angle this way. Very, very slight. And we're going to draw a loop, a looping shape that gets smaller down at the bottom, has a small base, and then slants back up and curves in like so. So now we're going to draw, this is basically going to be the bottom part of Olaf's head. So what we're going to draw next is the first part of his body, because he has two snowballs down there to make up the rest of his body. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come inside this first shape that we made a little bit, and we're going to draw a very small circle that connects into here. Well, you do want to keep this one fairly small because he has a much larger ball for the bottom part of his body. Erase the wrong one. There we are. So you should end up with something like this. And again, these are the basic shapes. We'll be coming back and cleaning this shape up a little bit later on. And then we're going to come slightly inside this first ball that we drew. And we're going to draw a much longer ball, not too much wider, but a little bit of a longer ball that has fairly straight up and down sides for a snowball that curves around at the bottom. And comes back around just like so. And now to finish up down here, we're going to draw Olaf's feet. Now his feet are actually quite simple because they're two miniature snowballs. He doesn't have any legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to a little bit over onto the left side from the middle of the bottom snowball. So roundabouts here's where you need to be. And we'll start by drawing one shape that curves back up into the body about here. You want to keep the bottom part of it fairly flat, so it looks like he actually is standing. And then you can come around back to this middle line and curve another shape. Out and in like so. So it shouldn't go out to the edge of the body. It should come back in a little bit before that point. So there's basically what we should have for down on this part of the body. So I'll erase up here. And to finish things off, we're going to come back up here. And we're going to draw one more shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to come a little ways into the top of this shape here. And we're going to start drawing a slanting line that curves over the top of his head. And it comes back down and stops. So it's about equal space between here and here as there was between here and here. So again, don't make this part too tall. You still want to have a little bit of space at the top of your paper for when we do the twigs for his hair. But there is basically what you should have. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to this top loop that we have here. We're going to start drawing a curving line for the center of his face that goes all the way down to the bottom, just like so. So this is going to signify where the middle of Olaf's face is. So his face is tilted off to the right side of the paper. And then what we're going to do is right here, where this line meets the line right here, this is actually the part where the bottom of the eyes are going to be. So that's helpful because it's there right away. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw in Olaf's eyes. So we're going to drop in two circles. Now these circles are going to be fairly large, probably up to about halfway up this shape here because he has fairly big eyes because he's a cute little snowman. Just plain old circles, nothing too spectacular about them. Just make sure that the bottom of them meet this line that we have here. I'll clean up mine a little bit. And I'm going to come over here and we're going to drop in his other eye, and that's going to go right along this center line that we have here. Going to go up to the same height. It's just going to be a little bit smaller in terms of the width. It's a little bit skinnier. So it's going to go right up to the edge of the face that we have over here. Now, Olaf, we're not going to leave him blank and soulless looking for very long, so let's go ahead and drop in the pupils. Now this part can be a little bit tricky, but essentially we want Olaf to be looking at us, the artist. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in another small circle. It's going to be relatively in the middle of this larger circle. And on this one over here, we're not going to put it in the same space that we did here. In order to make this eye look like it's looking at us, since it is further along the side of the face, we're going to move and place it so it's more over closer to this side of the eye than the other side. It's going to be about the same size. So now, if I just make that a little bit larger, so then if I shade it in, both eyes should be working together to be looking at us. And we're going to be chucking right along here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come to this middle part where these two lines intersect, and we're going to draw Olaf's nose. Now his nose is a carrot, so we're going to draw it in two different shapes and then combine it later. So what we're going to do first is we're going to draw a large oval that starts curving towards the right side of his face before it curves back around. And as it meets up back with this line up here, it's going to go over this eye slightly. It's going to overlap it. So you should end up with something that looks a little bit like this. And then to finish it, we're going to draw another small oval right on the tip, like this. So that when we're done, we can combine the two shapes together and create Olaf's carrot nose. And now to make it look like a carrot, we can just add a couple curving lines that are going pretty wide like this to make it look like the carrot is rather round and extremely wide. So you should end up with something like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to draw Olaf's mouth. Now this one can be rather interesting to do, so just try and follow along with me as closely as you can. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to about here on this main part of his face. And we're going to draw a small little loop to signify the end of Olaf's mouth. And then we're going to start drawing his smile. That's going to go all the way down. So it should be fairly far below the carrot nose. And now as it comes out to this side of the line of the shape, we're actually going to extend it a little ways out before bringing it back in. So Olaf has a large overbite to him. So his lip extends further out than his lower lip, his upper lip does. And now that you're done with that, to finish this whole thing off, we're going to take this shape and we're going to push it up a little bit more, make it a little bit more curvy. And so it will curve into the nose. It should be fairly close to underneath Olaf's eye. Like so. There's the cleaned up version for you. And I'm noticing that maybe I can make him look even cuter if I were to bring his smile even further up than it was before. So about to there is where it should be. And now to finish off this area over here, it's looking a little bit strange. So to fix that up, all we have to do is come to this line that we have here, and we're going to extend it out very slightly. Curve it around and down so that it meets up with that line that we had before, like so. And then we can erase out this part of the lines here. So we end up with a product that looks something like this. Now Olaf has a very particular thing about his mouth in that he has a single buck tooth in the middle of his mouth. So to drop that in, all we have to do is draw a straight line roundabouts here, a little, basically right underneath his eye. Do the same over here, so this one's closer to the edge of the mouth. And combine them together with a slightly curving line. Now in terms of the actual length, it can differ from person to person, but you want to avoid making it too long. So the length I have it at right now is probably the maximum that you would want to go. Probably don't want to make his tooth much longer than this. I can erase this out now. So to finish him off, there's a couple more features on his face that we need to take care of. So what we're going to do is, to make him have a very, very cute expression on him, we're going to draw his eyebrows so that they are curving up at an angle. So the bottom of the eyebrows will be slanting down like this. And then with this eyebrow, when we reach out to the edge of the head, we're going to curve it around the head shape, like that. So now we can come over to this one, and we'll just make it a little bit thicker by making another line that follows the exact same shape that we've already made. And on this one, when we bring it down over to the side, it'll curve around and disappear off the edge, like so. So now Olaf has a very adorable expression going, and it helps even more if we add a small line indications like that. Now to finish up Olaf up here, we're going to draw 3 more lines. Olaf has hair in the form of twigs stuck on top of his head. So in order to draw those, it's very simple. We're just going to draw 1, 2, and 3 lines, just like so. Now Olaf is looking off this way on the paper, but his body is actually going to be positioned facing the other way. So what we're going to do is right up here, we're going to draw another one of those lines that shows us where the middle of Olaf's body is. And up on the first smaller snowball, we're going to draw 1 circle, very, very lightly. And down here, we're going to drop in 2 other ones, so that the middle of them is on that center line that we drew. Very simple, very easy. And now you can see that I've gone ahead and erased those guiding lines because we don't need it anymore. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make these look a little bit more like the coal that they actually are. So by that I mean that we can just take this edge and make it a little bit harder, make some edges a little bit sharper, things of that sort, and then we can add another line like so to make it look like that there is an actual side to the coal. And there we have it, 3 coal buttons. Now his arms are sticks, so that's going to make it easy. So what we're going to do is right in this general area, we're going to draw 1 small circle, and we're going to draw 1 small half circle right up here. This will signify where his shoulders are, if he had shoulders, and where the arms are actually going to start. So we're going to start with this one right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to draw a single line that is very slightly curving off to the left. That's going to stop about here. And then down on this one, we're going to draw a line that's going to stay inside Olaf's body. Stops roundabouts there in between these 2 coals. And now, to add everything else into this. We're going to come back up to this stick, and we're going to draw the actual stick around the line that we had drawn before. So basically you just want to draw a line that is not straight, but has a couple little indentations here and there. That gets a little bit skinnier, a little bit thicker, to really give it the feeling of a stick. And once we begin to reach the edge of the line, now here's where things can get a little bit interesting. Because we need to draw Olaf's stick hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the base form of the hand in the form of a shape like this. And I'm going to add the little stick fingers onto it. Olaf only has 4, so that makes it easy for us. So they don't have to actually look like fingers, because in fact they are not fingers, they are sticks. Which lets us as artists get away with a lot more. So once I have that whole form drawn, I can erase out my guiding lines. And maybe fix up that wonky looking pinky slightly. There we are. Voice is cracking, my apologies. And there we go. We have our first little stick hand for Olaf. To finish things off here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come up to this circle and we're going to draw a slightly moving in and out line that ends where we ended our stick. And we're going to draw the base part of the hand by making a shape like this and drawing these stick hands onto it. So basically Olaf's hands and fingers should not go outside of his body as much as possible. And now what we're going to do down here is, just to finish off everything, we're going to come back to the circle outlines that we made for the snow body and just redefine them a little bit more, make them a little bit more solid, so they fit along better with everything that we've got. And there we have that all taken care of. So to finish things off now for everything, we can come back into these coal buttons, make the top part very, very dark, and make this part a little bit lighter so that we can tell that there's a difference between the two of them. Do the same here, and do the same here. So ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. That is how you draw Olaf the Snowman from one of my new favorite Disney films, Frozen. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I had a great time making it because I love doing anything Frozen related, as you saw with that very first speed drawing video I did. And I hope to see you again next time. This is Mr. Schwartz, signing off for now. Have a great day.